I am doing a different course somewhere that has like Al-Anon AA type meetings. So I'm going to make this, for whatever reason, it's a lot easier for me. And I'm going to download this video and I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to do, it just is. Okay. For meditation today, I hear people meditate different ways. And some of us are meditating to clear our mind. And some of us are meditating for clarity. Some of us are meditating for manifestation. We all kind of have a purpose for it. In terms of sobriety and trying to hack our subconscious to try to break a bad habit, I want to do a small visualization exercise to try to get us into a mindset of possibilities. So, when we meditate, always the first thing that we have to do is pull ourselves into the presence of our being instead of in the presence of the bubble around our being. Does that make sense? So we are kind of radiating our energy. We just are. When we are doing any kind of mental work, we need to pull our energy back in here. And some people will say, we're going to imagine the insides of our body and we're going to pull the energy into it. It's kind of different for everybody, but what I want to urge you to do is find some quiet, but not quiet that is so still that your mind, that you can't gauge the volume of your own thoughts. Okay, and then I want you to touch your hands together and without thinking about anything else, take your hands and just rub them. Rub them. Okay. Start bringing circulation into your fingertips. And then take a minute to step aside, wherever it is you get a minute, and shake your body. We're going to shake our body out. We're going to kind of shake our body out and just like limp noodle it and shake your body out. Did you know that when animals experience something adverse, they take a moment and they go flip out and spaz out somewhere? When we as humans feel something that gives us an adverse reaction, we internalize it and we stuff it someplace without realizing that we're doing that. So in those moments, it seems a little silly, but to center ourselves and clear, can we say, instead of doing all of these woo-woo lingos, we're going to say we're going to clear our energy and make sure that anything that we were stuffing inside it's just out. Okay, so before you sit and you do that, take 30 seconds, 60 seconds, however long it takes, and completely limp noodle it and just get your wiggles out. Wiggle it, get your heart rate going a little bit, but don't do this to an extent that it feels like cardio. And then once you've done that, sit. Okay, you're gonna pause it right now. You're gonna do your dancey dance over here and get your wiggles out. You're gonna take some big, deep breaths when you're finished and ground your energy to yourself. You're gonna plant your feet into the ground. And when I say that, I mean you imagine that your feet have taken roots and they are in the ground. You are one with the floor, right? We're not standing on it. We are grounding ourselves to the floor, right? And then you are going to stretch your arms as high as you can and try to reach where you can't reach the roof. You're going to try to reach the roof. You're going to ceiling. We're going to try to reach it. You're going to try to reach it while you plant your feet in the ground, and you're going to stretch your body And while you stretch your body, you're going to stretch. You're going to think about your fingertips, and you are going to stretch. And you're going to think about if you're stretching hard enough. You don't want to hurt yourself, but you want to stretch yourself physically as much as you possibly can. Hold your breath for a minute, and just feel yourself stretch. Okay. After you've done that, when you sit down with yourself to meditate, guess what? Some of the physiological part of clearing our mind and having access to certain parts of us is already activated. So after you do that, and you sit and you take a few deep breaths in, and you want to just do some breathing at the same time, you try to allow yourself to subconsciously breathe deep while you focus on the way that it feels to touch your own palms of your hands. So you are going to do two things at once, and you're going to decide that of the two things you're doing, you're going to focus on one more than the other. So you are going to get your breaths regulated, and then you are going to keep doing that while you rub your hands. And while you are putting the deep breaths in the back of your mind, you are going to think about the way that it feels. Your face, your tapping points, wherever it is, your sensation point when you center back and you are breathing. And you can focus on your breathing and the feeling that your body is also the sensations. You are at a point where you can start thinking about where you want to go mentally. Today, I want to take us on a journey to meet ourself, our future self, where we have stopped XYZ, habit of XYZ, and met the success goal that we are trying to reach today in whatever habits we're trying to break. But first, I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. If there were no work to do between this habit and this goal, if there were no work to do, and you could go immediately to the goal, what does the goal look like? Like, what's the purpose of your goal? Because the purpose of the goal isn't the goal. So then what? So after, right, you meet your goal, what then? What's the purpose of meeting your goal? So in sobriety, it's not like, I just want to stop drinking alcohol. But why? What is your purpose in wanting to quit consuming this, that, or the other thing? Or, whatever behavior you're trying to do. What? Then what? And imagine the then what purpose of it after. Like, after it's achieved, like, then what? What does that look like for you? Do you want it so your career is better? Do you want it so your family is better? Do you want it so you can feel better? Do you want it so... What is it? What is it? Like, why? What's the why? And I want you to think about being all those things that are the purpose of the why, right? Oh, because this is this, this is this. And I want you to mentally practice in your head for a minute, like, what that person is like after that goal is met. We're still not thinking about the work. We're just saturating ourselves in the fact of, what does this goal mean to me? And then what am I going to do with it? And that's where a lot of our brewing needs to happen within. So, right? Everybody's purpose of their why, of whatever they're meeting their goal for, is different. I'm not going to say what is right and what isn't right, but what I am going to say is make sure that your why is for a personal reason, not because somebody said so or because you feel like you'll be this. It needs to be for a personal reason for you. So then you go to your mind and you imagine yourself. What is sober person? What is person who doesn't binge eat? What is somebody who doesn't self-sabotage? What is somebody who doesn't stir up drama everywhere they go? What are these things? What are these habits we're breaking? What is avoiding, like running and just working on emotional avoidance? Like, what are we working on? Okay. What does that version of you look like when you've conquered it? What does it look like? What does it look like? And go there and see yourself as that. See yourself as that goal, that your purpose. Right? And when you have sat in that for long enough, I mean, not like 20 seconds of like, yeah, I'm meeting my future self. I mean, when you actually understand what it means, what does that mean? When you realize that you are going to be meeting with the version of you that has proven to you that it's worth it and this is why. You're going to be your own success story. You're going to meet yourself and your success shoes. Make sure you understand what that looks like for you first. Maybe we have to stop there and then we don't do the next part because that's still like something, but still. Once you know what that looks like for you, you can start. Then you can start. And then, after we've done this and we've centered our intentions and remembered what we are actually doing this for us, then we sit and we visualize the journey that we're taking to ourselves. Right? And we get our breath back centered and you do the thing again where you can focus on the deep breaths that you're having while you're also allowing yourself to feel what it feels like. Not only on both sides. So what does it feel like to your fingertips to touch the top of your hand? And what does it feel like to the top of your hand when your fingertips touch it? There are two sensations that we're feeling. Okay? We can center in the mindfulness of being present because our presence is found in our sensations, in my opinion. So when you want to find that presence and mindfulness while you're doing this work, keep yourself attuned with a physical sense that you're feeling, but in the back of your mind, not the front. And you can switch back and forth depending on what feels better. But when you close your eyes and you walk to this place of safety and security for yourself, a place that gives you positive nostalgia and just whatever it is, whatever this place is. When you close your eyes and you take the trip and you get there, right? And you circle yourself in your chalk circle, your bubble. You circle yourself in your bubble, right? And you blow the air into it, and you blow the air into it, and you blow the air into it, and you blow the air into it until you can take yourself any place that you feel like you need to go with yourself while you have this important conversation. A place of comfort. And when you approach yourself in this place, It is excitement. There are no shame. There's no judgment. This is your favorite celebrity that you are going to meet. This is a backstage access pass to some sort of experience with yourself, and you have so much gratitude for it. This is not guilt and shame. This is, oh my gosh, I have a moment with myself, and you sit with yourself in that gratitude of, I can't wait to soak in the wisdom of what this moment is going to tell me. And when you meet yourself, you hug yourself. You hug yourself. You pat yourself on the back. You are excited. You can't wait. Like, tell me how it feels. And yourself is going to tell yourself that's there, yearning to hear about the possibilities that you've done. You're going to listen to yourself with an eager ear of open possibilities of what can come from this. And you embrace and you hug and you give yourself that moment of that enthusiastic greeting that you need. And ask yourself, how does it feel? Like, how did you keep going? And you ask yourself, like, is there a message for me? Like, what would you go back and tell me? Because you're looking at yourself already in the future, right? What would you tell me? What would you go back and tell me right now if you could tell me anything? And you hear it from yourself. And you take a moment and you allow your success shoes to tell you. To give you the answers from that place of divine alignment. And then you embrace and you embrace again, and you until I see you again. And then the next time you go back, you are going to, I can't wait to tell you what I did. And you are going to go back and you are going to remind yourself of the successful steps that you took, and you are going to fill in your own prequel. And we're going to do this process once a week of going back in and telling yourselves what steps you actually took, so you can be excited with yourselves about that one step closer. So, after you have your greeting and you make the commitment to yourself to be back every time that you reach a goal, and you soak it in with pride of knowing that one step at a time that is possible. And center back in and refocus on creating warmth in your hands so you can feel the sensations while you take these deep breaths back into your bubble and back into that nostalgia place that you call home. We all have those places that we go. And when you are finished, I personally feel like journaling anything that stood out over time. Sometimes you will see these breadcrumbs of trails that you left for yourself. You might not know what it means right now. So just focus on, excuse me, what does the why and the purpose of your goal, what does that look like? Right? Because in terms of sobriety, just because it's the easiest thing to relate to generally, like, then what? Why do we want to be sober? Why do we want? And what does that look like? And we need to remember that we can access it within ourselves what we know that it will feel like. and in self-encourage ourselves to get there because we know what that feels like. Because we told ourselves that it feels good. So, take a moment. I don't know. Sometimes I get emotional when I meditate. Sometimes I get this burst of energy. Sometimes I feel like I didn't really get what I needed out of it. But often, if I do a guided meditation and I'm expecting some result from it that I do not get, I feel like I did it wrong and I start judging myself. But what sometimes will happen is I will fill in the gap of what I needed in a dream, or I will see it, or a synchronicity will happen and will fill in the gap. A synchronicity can happen and it can fill in the gap. So even when we're doing these things, if we're like, this is what, it still has a purpose for the process. So, and when you're finished, just think about gratitude. And I don't mean the things that we always talk about that we have gratitude for at the Thanksgiving dinner, like our families and our friends and like the roof over our head and the fact that there's stability. I don't mean that. I mean the stuff that you have to dig for and believe to have gratitude for. What is that? Like, then what? What gratitude is that? That's where we come from. We aren't talking about these surface things that we ramble off as our daily 10 of gratitude and affirmations. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a pain point, maybe. I'm talking about the flip side of how something that felt so terrible ended up being okay. I mean, like, find gratitude that you have to dig for. At least once a day. At least once a day. At least once a day, we need to be digging for the things beyond the rhetoric of course. We have gratitude for that, of course. But in the of course, we have gratitude for those things. We sometimes forget a repetition of forgetting to have the same sort of gratitude for the things that we dig for. But to get out of the cycle, because sometimes we're like, yeah, I have enough gratitude. If you're feeling like you aren't grasping it, dig deeper for the things that are really difficult to have gratitude for and find a way to feel it. And it is hard work. It's not like, oh yeah, it's just so easy. Like, just cut it like butter. No. You have to commit to the process, and you have to remind yourself that it isn't going to be easy, and you're going to do it anyway. And that's what you do. So, if you're feeling any kind of way after that, and it sparked up any kind of like yuck, this is another moment to like get yourself over to the side and do some wiggles. We're going to get wiggles out again. And release any kind of yuck that came up in the middle of that you don't want to bring into anywhere else. So let's shake it all out the same way, just, we're going to just like bounce it, and just like let your body like do some weird shit. Like, it don't even matter. It doesn't even matter. We're just going to shake it all out. And when you do that, you believe that you're releasing it. Yeah. So, okay. It works if you work it. But you have to tell yourself that it's working while you're working it. All right. Toodaloo.